Animals are mutating, whether it's New York, whether it's Colorado, lots of places of America, but the news is telling one part of the story. But we're going to be telling you so many other parts of the story that I received. As you can see right here on Daily Mail, these big, huge tumor-like things coming out of deer. And it's not just deer, from rabbits to squirrels. And this is something that a lot of people are concerned with. And I've heard information that is going to tell you a little bit deeper into the story here. I've also created a map where you can see in a few where this is all going. Rabbits with horns in Colorado from Associated Press called Frankenstein bunnies here. And you can see right here on screen as we speak, there is a eyewitness account, them seeing one of these things. And you can see the horn looking features coming out of his head. Now, how much is this concerning you in the chat, and how much more do you need to know? And that's what I'm going to get to you, because if you look at this right here, these are the reported tentacle rabbit sightings. And notice that straight line there from Colorado, Nebraska, Minnesota. We're going to give you more information. We also know from research how this came to be and what is the infection situation if it happens to touch you. Do they expect it to spread to humans? Well, that's what the inside information will tell us here in a second. But let's read this. Sightings of rabbits with unusual tentacle-like growths caused by cottontail or CRPV have been reported in 3 states, Colorado, Minnesota, and Nebraska. But we got to look a little deeper here, because we need to know a little bit more about this. Where does it come from? Oh, it's transmitted by biting insects and can lead to growth resembling tentacles or horns. So our next question here is, what insects, based on this confirmed information, can cause this to happen? And when we go into it, let's look right here. It happens to be, ticks, arthropods, mosquitoes. And it's also a DNA virus. This is confirmed sourced information here. And that's what makes it more interesting now that we're going to dive a little bit deeper here into this situation, because if it's ticks, well, there's one thing I know about the ticks, and we're going to get to the map here where this situation is happening. They was calling it out that some rare tick deadly disease was found in Maine. This was earlier in the year. We just want to bring this up here into the story. Researchers said they found rabbit ticks in Maine carrying a new type of bacteria that can cause spotted fever. So this isn't the actual one we're looking at here, but let's look right up there at Maine. What's closer to Maine? Well, there was a lab that opened up as well. We're going to get to this lab that's right next to Maine in New York on Long Island. But if we look right here on screen, over the last 2 months, people have photographed deformed deer in New York, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. So if you look right here on screen, there's another photo somebody posted of a deer that was walking around. And it's not just them, it's the squirrels as well. So the USDA also came out and they were talking about fighting this New World screwworm. So if mosquitoes are the source, if ticks are the source, and arthropods are the source, now we got to dive a little bit deeper here before we get into all the information that the inside source, who's basically a cop who knows somebody in CDC and gave me an actual flyer of what they're looking at to show you more about the situation. So this lab here, let's go into this lab in Long Island. So this is next to all the zones that we're talking about. That New York, Pennsylvania zone is right next to all that. I mean, do you think this is a coincidence here? That lab is right there next to some of the areas, as we showed you on the map, the other states that are being affected right now. Now, I want to give you this information because in my viewpoint of all this part of the video is my opinion here. If we were to have something happen, our wildlife won't be the same wildlife, so you wouldn't be able to rely on resources of wildlife, if you get what I'm saying. Is this a potential setup for something much bigger? Because we've seen a lot of the drills that's happening, from earthquake drills to New Madrid, just August, Six, the National Guard. Then the Navy also conducted its own drill that you didn't hear about for more earthquake response, natural disasters. And then they're getting 400 million allocated to prepare North Carolina drinking water for natural disasters. So whatever this natural disaster is, maybe they know a little something here, and it seems that they're preparing in any way they can. Now, I want to get to the source here who just today got with me about this. A woman was like, yeah, you need to talk about this. Now, okay, I'm going to read y'all what he says, but I want you to see on screen first what he sent to me. I said, if he gets official info, let me know. Clear on that, buddy. I'm trying to see if he can give me any more documents because he's currently at work and he works for the CDC. And he sent this flyer to us right here. This was just today. Zombie deer, zombie squirrels, and tentacle rabbits. Recently, reports of zombie deer and zombie squirrels, as well as tentacle rabbits, have emerged. Erratic behavior, signs and symptoms, bloody or oozing wounds, decayed or discolored flesh, tentacles extending from the head or body for tentacle rabbits. Stick around, I'm going to tell you what he said they believe is happening here. Transmission. It is unclear how the disease is transmitted, but it is suspected to be zoonotic. Prevention. Avoid contact with infected animals. Report any sightings to local health authorities. For more information, visit www.cdc.gov. Now, that was what was in the folder of the CDC. This hasn't even been released yet. I looked across a couple websites to see if this was released. There was no files or folders or anything. So this guy got this from the CDC server inside of the actual office. Now, subscribe right now if you don't understand what's going on, because we're covering all the details, making sure you get all the information. Now, here's the other part that I'm going to try to word this. He said, I just wanted to check in with you to see how you are doing and kind of share you a little information, He said that basically what they've been seeing, they're telling the sources inside are telling him this was the crop, an infection that accidentally, basically accidentally got out. And of a LAB, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I can't say it all. And it's almost like from the TV show, unfortunately, Last of Us. What insiders are describing this as it's spreading fast, and the fear is that it's going to spread to other animals like fish, cows, and possibly humans. That was sent in the text. This is potentially what they are looking at as we speak right now. That was the information that highly is important. I do believe that this could be aligned with some of the events that we're seeing already, whether it's an earthquake, whether it's a volcano or something happening during the natural disaster. These situations look like it's almost being leveraged in my eyes, but it could be that officially they have not come out and understood another source maybe having an issue with this situation here. And I put out a huge video, volcano collapse opens underwater off West Coast. Highly important. I'm going to have that video on the left-hand side. You got to click that to see the deeper side of the natural disaster plans. I think ties in heavily with this. In the JWTV ebook, BioShield Protocol for the parasitic situations happening, educational. The last 8 years, I researched a lot of this because I went through Hurricane Katrina. So since we're going through this now, I understand how this parasitic infection stuff works. And I think it will help you out a lot in these scenarios. So what is the bigger side of the story that brings us down into understanding a little bit more about this situation? So the ticks that's at the lab in New York, Long Island, you got to understand that this was one of the areas that was used during World War II, where the top scientists from Operation Paperclip came there, but now they're at Kansas. So let's look at one thing really quick here. How close are they to Kansas is the big question, because that's going to be the research facility where they bring out all the animal zoonotic researchers. And that's where it's going to start having this uptick in, we need to do some different protocols here. I think that over the course of time, we are going to see this play out. And I'm going to get more information on how exactly it plays out. So stay away from the ticks and the fleas. And my big thing that I use for ticks and fleas, I also got it in my ebook. But right away, I took colloidal silver my own self. There's like seconds, because like the problem is like people will wait for hours and stuff. You first minutes, first seconds, drip, bam, drip. I'm already, I'm not playing with them because I already know we're in biological territories with these ticks. And the thing is, like, you can't wait. You got to go ahead and get on top of all that. So I'm gonna be looking at all this stuff in these situations as it transpires for the people just tuning in. They don't know what's going on. We've been covering all the details here about all the different animals and what's going on, how this is starting to transpire. During these moments, you probably have to think about it. All right, well, will I be able to fish? Because you might not be able to go and get a rabbit. You might not be able to go and get a deer. And this could be really something heavily that they could be focused on. If you think that's a fact, if you think that's true, we'll find out. We'll get more information on that over time. But don't let them hide this video from you that I put out just the other day. Watch now, volcano collapse, and we got the live feed footage under the ocean about what's happening. And you could click right here, you'll see it, and it'll also be in the live chat after this over because it ties into the story heavily.